2018 meeting of the Joint Local Development Finance Authority Troy Subcommittee to order. Mr. Lapin, will you call the roll?
I will. Chair Robin Beltramini.
Here.
Paul Huff.
Here.
John Sharp.
Here.
Irene Spanos. Not here. Nicholas Vitale.
Here.
Ellen Hoderick, alternate. And Dane Slater, alternate. Do we have a quorum?
Okay, thank you very much. The minutes from last April's meeting were sent to you. Did anyone have any corrections or additions?
No, and I did read them.
Yay!
I move they be accepted. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the minutes of April 23rd be approved as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business, Move Across Troy update. Who will talk?
I will. As you may recall, this board helped fund Move Across Troy. What is happening is the funds from the LDFA were used to do signal changes. However, keep this quiet. Altair is looking at redeveloping, which would impact that traffic signal. So we don't want to do an actual configuration. We don't know when or what they want to do, but we didn't want to install it and then have it just torn out. So we're waiting to see what happens with the redevelopment plans.
Thank you for the judicious use of our money.
And there is no timeline. We can wait as long as we need to to spend the funds.
Yeah. Yep.
Terrific. Hey, Irene.
Hello.
All right, new business, 2019 meeting schedule. Did anybody have a problem with those two dates, the 22nd of April and the 21st of October next year?
No problem.
All right, carry them forward now.
We should have a motion.
You want to accept that? Okay, so we need a motion to set this meeting schedule in stone.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carries. Automation Alley Smart Zone Improvements. Tom Kelly, welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us.
For having me.
You can start with the parking lot and go on with whatever now.
Madam Chair, can I do a slight introduction
Sure.
to this? We, as you recall, in our budget, we have a line item called infrastructure, and what those funds can be expended for is public projects. And back in the early days, we helped provide funding for the actual building where Automation Alley is. We've done road improvements. And so in this current fiscal year, we have $45,000 in the budget. And if we don't expend that, it does carry over to the next year. Well, I'll have to make that happen. And then there's $34,000 next year, and then the following third year out, $32,000. You can see that the LDFA is earning less and less because of industrial personal property is exempt now, and we're not getting the full reimbursement, the full amount from the state, but we do receive some reimbursement.
But if you don't spend it, it rolls over to
Into general fund, or I can reassign it into infrastructure.
again.
Again, yeah, it doesn't go away.
Okay. I'm hoping it would not go away.
Well, we deal with grant programs where sometimes things like that do go away.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Chairwoman. And perhaps the first thing I'd like to do is, I am fairly new to Automation Alley. For those of you who've probably been in Troy for a while, know that Ken Rogers has been the CEO, the founding CEO of Automation Alley with Brooks. Brooks started Automation Alley back in 1999. And so this is the first transition. I came in 2 years ago as the executive director and CEO. And if you'll indulge me, I'd like to give you guys just a 5-minute overview of what we're doing today at Automation Alley, because I think it will reflect kindly on the city of Troy as we talk about what we're trying to do. Automation Alley, I call it returning to our roots. We're focused on what we call Industry 4.0. And if you have not heard of the term Industry 4.0, it stands for the fourth industrial revolution. We think we're in the midst of a very dramatic change in how work gets done, especially at the production level. The first industrial revolution was steam, the second was Henry Ford and electricity coming together, the third was computers and robotics, and all of those resulted in a fundamental shift in how work gets done. The reason why Industry 4.0 is so critical for us as a region is that we invented the second industrial revolution and we perfected the third industrial revolution. We're not so prepared for the fourth industrial revolution, which means the digitization of physical processes. Everything becoming digitalized, everything virtually meeting physical. Silicon Valley is excellent at creating virtual products, right? Software, things that can scale infinitely. You invent it once, you can replicate it a million times. Detroit is excellent at the physical, driving variability out of processes, high quality, high volume, high repeatability. Those worlds are crashing together, and neither world is prepared for the future. The digital world has a very difficult time slowing down and having high repeatability, and our world, our culture, is all about not living in a digital world that iterates very quickly. Hey, if the software is broken, you send an update tomorrow. If it's broken tomorrow, you send an update the next day. So these two worlds have to collide. Autonomous vehicles is a good point where they collide. Automation Alley focuses on how to prepare our manufacturers and our other industries, by the way, because it's not just manufacturing, it's healthcare, it's building products. If you talk to anybody, everybody talks about the pace of change of technology. And we need to navigate this change better than the rest of the world because Germany has a national policy on Industry 4.0. China has China 2025, which is Industry 4.0. Mexico has their national policy. The U.S. does not have a national policy. We believe fundamentally as a society that capitalism and just allowing the markets to work is the way to go. Whether you believe that or disagree with that, it doesn't matter because that's what we do. So we need a policy as a region, and that's what Automation Alley does. And so with that said, I want to share with you that our goal is not, as we've been in the past, to create a brand for fellow Michiganders to relate to, which we did a heck of a job doing. I see our job going forward is we need to create a global brand that drives people and companies and interest back to Troy. And that's what we're doing. So we've partnered recently with the World Economic Forum. They are one of the leaders in the fourth industrial revolution. Klaus Schwab coined the phrase and wrote the book back in the early 2010s. And they have now come in and partnered with us on 2 studies that we'll be releasing globally that will be presented at Davos in January, which is their very large event. We'll hopefully have the new governor go with us. So all that said, I don't mean to take too much time, but all that said, that we view Troy as our home. It'll always be our home, and we want to drive global people here and make this a place worth coming to get the knowledge. Because the thing with Industry 4.0 is when you look at all the technologies that make it up, which I kind of left out, think artificial intelligence, big data, 3D printing, modeling and simulation, virtual reality, augmented reality, any one of them is highly disruptive. They're all coming at once. And they're all coming into processes that are very capital intensive, and you can't just willy-nilly change things out and try new things all the time. Very, very, very disruptive. And so our job is to help this group of manufacturers really understand how to ride this wave. And we appreciate your support. And part of that was working with Mark and Glenn, because when I came in, our parking lot was in massive disrepair, and I said, we can't have the face of Automation Alley. If you get Bosch to come up from Atlanta and learn what we're doing in Detroit, to come in and go over the potholes, it is the wrong impression for us, it's the wrong impression for Troy. So that's where we are, and so the where we are today is to say, how can we work together to get that done, and we'll try to do our part. So, and I'm happy to take questions, Madam Chair.
Irene's got a comment, question.
Comment.
Okay.
What I really like about where Tom is taking Automation Alley, he's really positioned Automation Alley as our state's Industry 4.0 center. So you're hearing companies in Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, all over the state of Michigan coming, manufacturers coming to learn about Industry 4.0 and implementing the philosophies and the processes of that. So where Automation Alley used to be very regional, now it's become statewide organization. That's right here in Troy.
But that also means that when those companies from Grand Rapids interface with other companies that they deal with throughout the world, they also hear that Troy name
Yeah,
and that Troy location.
Absolutely.
And if they want more knowledge, they come here too.
absolutely.
So it piggybacks well. Yeah.
Tom, do you have or do you see a need for any type of satellite office? I know Troy's home, but
No, not at this time, and I actually think that becomes de minimis over time because technology is driving the ability. Right now, we live stream globally because Ford and GM pick up their engineers all over the world. We do tech takeovers every Wednesday. We live stream them out. Nobody wants to come physically anymore to the facility when they can get it. So what we do is we marry that with, okay, here's some things you can only get, collaboration, deep integration, that we do out of Automation Alley. But we view ourselves as, what I consider successful is if we can get a company in Japan or China or South Korea or Germany to say, I want to look at Troy where I put my facility or where I put my R&D center because I need the knowledge. I don't need the physicality so much as I need the pace of change of knowledge because that's what is going to allow any region to win, is how quickly they are comfortable with disseminating and sharing knowledge amongst each other. And we've been taught as a society, especially in the auto industry, to hold everything really close. So that our battle is to teach everyone that worked in Industry 3.0 very, very well. That you will die on your sword in Industry 4.0 if you say, I've invented a process. Industry 4.0 is about how do I share that with you so we can be on the same process, because it's about sharing the information outside of your walls, not within your walls. So it's going to be quite interesting. I hope that answered your question, but from our perspective, we see, we're delighted. We may stand up, now this is confidential, and I suppose if I got out, what are you going to do? But we're going to be standing up.
It is being recorded.
It is, this is going on. Then I'm going to, thank you for sharing that with us, because I think I'll refrain from it. We have a very big announcement that you're going to hear about in January.
Look forward to it.
That may be something quite interesting for the city of Troy.
Yeah. Look forward to it, yeah.
Yes.
Because this will be replayed several times between now and then, so.
One Automation Alley program that's very important to us here in the city of Troy is the International Business Center, which you guys have. You can talk a little about that. We really work closely with their International Business Center staff. They get people that come in on a 3-month basis or so for free rent, and so we work with them, try and get them to find permanent space.
Yeah, so another reason we need to fix our parking lot is, so we have an International Business Center. We help, I'll get to the one you want to talk about, but we do two things. One is we help small businesses in Troy and in the region to understand how to export. And we don't just teach them how to export. We take them on a trade mission to another country. We create interaction with companies that are in that other, and create contracts. In our history in Troy, in the last it's not 20 years that we've been around, in about the last 12, we've generated over $1 billion of contracts for small companies in Michigan to export out. Conversely, what we do is, if you're a very large company, we bring you into Automation Alley. We set up a virtual work site. Actually, it's a physical work site. Virtual for the company, and they'll put a couple salespeople, a couple engineers in our facility, and then we will use our connections. Remember, we have 800 members all over the state of Michigan. From Troy, we create connections to those businesses, and we help them get contracts. And those contracts lead to stable revenue, which leads to Glenn finding them a place to build their facility, which leads to more jobs, and that's a virtuous cycle. And we marry that with our Industry 4.0 knowledge, because what they're finding is They want to know that not only are they investing in a community that has the talent they need, which is criteria one, but they also want to know that they're investing in a community that can help them understand the pace of change. So hopefully that answers that question. I'd be delighted to.
What's the request exactly? I know it's to repay the parking lot, but what is the request?
Well, included in the budget, it was already allocated these dollars for the parking lot.
This is just an
How much is it?
update.
We have budgeted in this fiscal year $45,000.
Okay.
And then the second year.
Now that's the whole budget though, right? Will it all be consumed by this parking lot?
No, that's the infrastructure budget, yes.
Okay, all right, so the whole budget this year will go toward the,
The infrastructure budget, yes.
That motion.
okay,
Well, we're projecting 3 fiscal years.
right.
But there is an Automation Alley operation budget too.
Yes, there is.
Right.
That is,
92,089.
yep.
And we appreciate you guys. It's a wonderful partnership, and I just want to bring honor and distinction to both our organizations, right? So I've always appreciated that.
When will the work start?
So, big parking lot. Tom mentioned that there are some severe critical issues that have to be addressed right up front, and that is the entryway into the parking lot, which had a huge pothole in it, which was damaging to vehicles, I can tell you.
It wouldn't survive another
It wouldn't
Were they
not
able to
survive.
get the cars out?
So they went ahead through a bid process of their own. They went ahead and redid that first part because they had to get it done before the snow started falling.
Okay,
So that was a critical piece.
so that's done.
That's done. The
And
rest of the
we'll
parking
come out
lot.
of these dollars.
Pardon me?
That, we'll pay them for that, reimburse them.
Yeah, we are working on an agreement that will work with Automation Alley on that. But then there are later phases for the rest of the parking lot as well that we will address, which is not as severe of a condition
No.
as
We
the
can-
entryway.
More flexible.
These may seem like dumb questions, but you guys are close to this. The first year is $45,000,
Yes.
the budget.
Yeah.
Is that the only amount that's going toward the parking lot, or are years 2 and 3 being used?
2 and 3.
It's all for the parking lot?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And to put it in perspective, year 1 costs $65,000. So we do have but it's just, we're a nonprofit. So,
Right.
all of our money gets consumed in our budget year. So this is critical. We cannot do it on our own.
Right.
It's just not possible. And so we're very, very appreciative.
Well, and that's the original parking lot too.
Yeah, that's the original parking lot.
So it's,
2004.
and I would encourage you, now that the entry is fixed, to
And
go
the car's
look
not
at
at
it.
risk.
I'm not
It
going
would-
near
It would have been a tire alignment at the very least
Yeah.
to see it earlier, but now that
I've got
it's
low
fixed.
profile tires, I'm not going into that.
But it's a big parking lot that needs a lot of help.
Yeah, and I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Any other questions? I mean, I appreciate the knowledge and your enthusiasm. I mean, I think that's critical to
we
making
need a
this all
motion?
fly. No, it's done. You did that with the budget, so. But I really appreciate you coming and sharing.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, we've had Pavan,
Yeah.
Yes.
Director of Operations, come to prior meetings.
He's our Chief Operation
Yep,
Officer.
They're out of the country.
Yes.
A couple times.
Yeah. I was in Tianjin, China for the World Economic Forum. And so that partnership is going to pay dividends to Troy, to Oakland County. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity. It's kind of like a tiger by the tail. I don't know what'll happen, but I'm just holding on to see where we go.
Maintain the grip.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to board member comment. If anyone has anything that they want to commend, get off your chest, whatever works. All right. Public
I
comment.
have one question
You go, John.
about if we're spending all of our infrastructure on the parking lot for Automation Alley, is that separate from the allocation we made for Move Across Troy?
That is already spent.
Oh, that's,
It's already spent.
okay.
And installed.
Okay.
There are no members of the public, so absent any further business, this meeting is adjourned.